Consider a simple, universal law of human nature. We do not fear the dog that barks loudly behind a fence. We do not fear the person who loses their temper, screams in anger, or throws a frantic emotional tantrum in public. Why? Because noise is predictable. When a person gets loud, when they overexplain their thoughts, when they react instantly to every piece of disrespect or pressure, they reveal their entire internal architecture. They show you their triggers, they show you their insecurities, they show you exact levers required to pull their emotional strings. Noise makes a human being easy to manage. It makes them easy to read, easy to outmaneuver, and remarkably easy to control. Now, consider the exact opposite. Imagine walking into a high-stakes room, making a bold statement or offering a subtle provocation, and being met with absolute, motionless, unbroken silence. No flinch, no defensive justification, no shift in posture, no angry outburst, just two calm, unblinking eyes looking back at you, completely unbothered by your presence. What happens inside your mind in that exact moment? Psychology tells us that the human brain cannot handle a total absence of feedback. When you offer a person zero emotional data, their mind goes into an immediate, frantic spiral. They begin to project their own deepest insecurities onto your silence. They ask themselves, what are they thinking? What do they know that I don't? Did I just make a catastrophic mistake? Your silence creates an unfillable vacuum. And in human psychology, a vacuum terrifies people because they are forced to fill it with their own imagination. In ancient Rome, during the reign of Tiberius, court members lived in constant terror of the emperor. Not because Tiberius was executing people every hour, but because he was virtually unreadable. He could sit through an entire Senate meeting listening to treasonous insults or desperate praise and offer absolutely no verbal or facial reaction. His generals could not predict his next move. His enemies could not figure out if he was preparing an army or simply contemplating philosophy. That unpredictable silence gave him more psychological leverage over the empire than 1,000 drawn swords. The ancient Stoic philosophers Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus understood this dark reality deeply. They recognized that an undisciplined tongue and an explosive emotional reaction are the two fastest ways to destroy your personal authority. When you react to everything, you belong to everything. When you master unpredictable silence, you belong entirely to yourself. In this comprehensive exploration, we are going to break down the exact psychological mechanics of silence, why unpredictability terrifies those who try to control you, and how you can construct an unreadable, unshakable mind that commands respect without ever raising your voice. If you are ready to stop leaking your energy into noise, pay close attention to what follows. Section 1. Predictability is the death of influence look around at how most people navigate social interactions. They live in a state of constant, mechanical predictability. If someone insults them, they get angry. If someone flatters them, they beam with pride. If someone asks them a question, they rush to fill the silence with endless over-explanation. They operate like a simple machine: press button A, get reaction B. When you are that predictable, you lose all strategic influence over your life. Manipulative people, arrogant co-workers, and toxic family members thrive on predictability. They spend time studying human levers. They know exactly which words will make you defensive, which subtle slights will make you run to explain yourself, and which silent treatments will bring you begging for reconciliation. Once they figure out your emotional code, you become a puppet in their play. Epictetus addressed this lack of emotional discipline with uncompromising harshness. If a person gave your body away to any passerby, you'd be furious. Yet you hand over your mind to anyone who comes along, so that if they revile you, your mind becomes disturbed and confused. Aren't you ashamed of that? Think about the profound weight of those words. Every single time you allow an external event, a rude comment, or a cold glance to dictate your immediate emotional state, you are giving your mind away to a stranger. You are letting them decide whether you sleep peacefully or spend the night pacing in anger. To break free from this trap, you must systematically destroy your predictability. You must cultivate a mental buffer between stimulus and response. When a push comes, you do not automatically push back. When an insult lands, you do not automatically offer a counterattack. You absorb the input, hold it in total internal stillness, and choose whether to respond at all. When people realize that their usual tricks no longer produce the expected reaction in you, their confidence shatters. They realize the old rules no longer apply. You are no longer a machine they can operate. You have become an unpredictable territory they cannot navigate. Section 2. The vacuum effect. Why does silence cause so much psychological distress in modern human interactions? To understand this, we have to look at how our brains process uncertainty. The human brain is an ancient prediction engine. Its primary job is to scan the environment, evaluate threats, and predict what is going to happen next, so it can keep you safe. When a person talks, moves, and reacts, your brain gathers constant data. It reads their body language, analyzes their tone, and categorizes them as safe, dangerous, or weak. Data gives the brain a sense of security and control. Silence, real, deliberate, unwavering silence, starves the brain of data. When you sit quietly in a conversation, offering no immediate opinion, no nervous nod, and no sudden shift in expression, you create what psychologists call the information vacuum. In physics, nature abhors a vacuum and rushes to fill it. In human psychology, the mind abhors an informational vacuum and rushes to fill it with its own fears. Consider what happens in a negotiation or a difficult conversation when one party chooses absolute silence. The person who spoke first feels an intense, almost physically painful impulse to keep talking. They start clarifying their statement. They start weakening their demands. They start offering concessions, making excuses, and rambling, all because they cannot endure the weight of your unreadable silence. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about the strength found in internal quiet. Tranquility is nothing else than the good ordering of the mind. An ordered mind does not feel the desperate urge to perform for others. It does not feel compelled to constantly prove it is intelligent, strong, or correct. When you step into the vacuum effect, you stop performing. You become a mirror. When people look at a mirror, they do not see you, they see themselves. If they carry guilt, your silence feels like judgment. If they carry insecurity, your silence feels like condescension. If they are hiding a lie, your silence feels like exposure. Without you having to say a single sharp word, your quiet composure forces them to confront their own internal chaos. Section 3. Weaponized calm under direct pressure. It is easy to appear calm when everything in your life is going smoothly. It is easy to quote Stoic philosophy when your bank account is full, your relationships are peaceful, and your plans are executing without a hitch. That is not real Stoicism. That is mere comfort. The true test of Stoic authority, the moment where unpredictability transforms into pure psychological power, occurs when you are under direct, acute, aggressive pressure. When a crisis strikes, when a project falls apart, when someone attempts to publicly humiliate you, or when an unexpected catastrophe lands on your doorstep, the human herd panics. People raise their voices, blame each other, run in circles, and act on blind, terrified impulse. If you can enter that chaotic environment and display weaponized calm, You instantly become the focal point of the room. Weaponized calm is the deliberate act of slowing down your breath, lowering the pitch of your voice, and reducing your physical movements to absolute minimums precisely when the storm around you is at its peak. While everyone else is burning energy in noise, you operate with cold, surgical clarity. Seneca described this rare human trait in his letters. A sword is forged in heat, but its strength is tested in cold water. So too is the human spirit tested not in comfort, but in the icy winds of crisis. Imagine the psychological shift in a room when chaos erupts, and one individual stands completely still. No frantic gestures, no raised voice, just a calm, deliberate assessment of the facts. That sudden contrast between their chaos and your composure is deeply intimidating. It signals to everyone present that you possess an internal resource they lack. It proves that while they are governed by external circumstances, you are governed entirely by your own rational mind. By refusing to join their panic, your calm becomes unpredictable. You become the anchor in the storm, the one person whose silence commands the room without a single word of instruction. Section 4. The Stoic art of strategic retrospection. There is a massive difference between empty, passive silence and strategic retrospection. Passive silence is the quietness of a person who is timid, afraid to speak, or hiding from conflict because they fear rejection. That type of silence does not terrify anyone, it simply invites people to walk over you. Strategic retrospection, however, is the deliberate practice of holding your words back so you can observe the terrain before taking action. It is the silence of a chess player studying the board while the opponent fidgets in their seat. The great Stoic statesman Seneca observed that most human errors in politics, war, and personal relationships stem from a single flaw, acting on raw impulse before gathering all the facts. People speak before they think. They react before they understand. They commit to positions before they realize they are walking into a trap. When you adopt the art of strategic retrospection, you reverse this process completely. When a situation arises, you deliberately step back into your internal observatory. You let others talk first. You let them reveal their positions, their motives, their hidden agendas, and their emotional weaknesses. You listen not just to what they are saying, but to what they are trying not to say. Consider how much power you gain simply by being the last person in a room to speak. While everyone else has laid their cards on the table, exhausted their arguments, and revealed their emotional states, you hold complete information superiority. You know where everyone stands, while no one knows where you stand. When you finally open your mouth to speak, your words do not sound like emotional opinion, they sound like a verdict. Because you waited, because you observed in silence, your response carries 10 times the weight of those who spent 20 minutes talking without thinking. Strategic silence turns your speech from cheap noise into precise, undeniable authority. Section 5. Breaking the pattern of reaction to make silence a permanent feature of your character, you must learn how to break the deeply ingrained habit of automatic emotional reaction. Most of your reactions are not conscious choices. They are subconscious scripts built over years of social conditioning. When someone raises their voice at you, your subconscious script tells you to raise your voice back. When someone accuses you of something, your script tells you to immediately offer an excuse. When someone challenges your authority, your script tells you to fight for control. A practicing Stoic views these subconscious scripts as a form of self-imposed slavery. Marcus Aurelius regularly reminded himself in his journal that he had the power to hold no opinion about a matter, and to remain completely undisturbed, you always have the option to have no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. These things are not asking to be judged by you. Leave them alone. Think about that phrase. These things are not asking to be judged by you. Just because an event happens, just because someone drops an insult, just because a crisis occurs, does not mean you are required to issue an opinion, a judgment, or a reaction. You can simply observe it, grant it zero emotional weight, and let it pass. The next time someone attempts to provoke you, try this exact psychological exercise as their words land. Pause, count to 3 silently in your mind. Do not change your facial expression. Do not shift your body weight. Maintain relaxed, neutral eye contact. In those 3 seconds, ask yourself one simple question. Does this require my energy, or is this person simply begging for a reaction? In 99% of cases, you will realize that their provocation is merely a desperate ploy for attention or emotional control. By choosing to offer nothing, no anger, no argument, no defense, you break the pattern. You deny them the drama they were seeking. You leave them holding their own negative energy while you walk away with your peace of mind entirely intact. Section 6. How unpredictability neutralizes manipulation. Manipulative human beings rely entirely on human weakness, predictable vanity, and fear. They use guilt to make you yield. They use passive-aggressive comments to make you self-conscious. They use sudden hot and cold behavioral shifts to keep you anxious, confused, and constantly seeking their approval. All of these manipulation tactics require your active, predictable participation to work. If a manipulator tries to make you feel guilty, and you respond by over-explaining, apologizing, and trying to fix the situation, their tactic succeeds. If they act cold, and you respond by desperately asking what you did wrong, their tactic succeeds. Unpredictable silence destroys manipulation at its very foundation. When a manipulative person attempts to play psychological games with a Stoic, they run into an impenetrable stone wall. When they drop a passive-aggressive comment meant to make you feel small, you do not ask for clarification. You do not get angry. You simply look at them, give a cold, polite nod, and return to your work. When they pull away and give you the silent treatment, expecting you to chase them, you do not send text messages or make phone calls. You match their silence completely, comfortably, and indefinitely. Nothing terrifies a manipulator more than someone who is totally comfortable in silence. It tells them that their presence in your life is a privilege, not a necessity. It proves that you are not dependent on their validation, their approval, or their emotional warmth to feel complete. When they realize that their psychological levers have zero effect on your internal state, they lose all power. They are forced to either treat you with genuine, cautious respect or retreat from your life altogether. Either way, you win. Section 7. The cold authority of natural pause. Listen to how great leaders, military commanders, and unshakable thinkers communicate. They do not speak at a fast, frantic pace. They do not rush through their sentences out of fear that someone might interrupt them. They do not use filler words like or like to hold the floor. They command space through the natural pause. The natural pause is the habit of placing deliberate, quiet spaces between your thoughts and sentences. It is the refusal to be rushed by the pace of others. When you speak with natural pauses, your words take on a completely different weight. You signal to the room that your thoughts are calculated, deliberate, and worth waiting for. Epictetus advised his students to treat their words like precious currency, not cheap gravel thrown on the ground. Let silence be your general rule, or say only what is necessary and in few words. For talk is cheap, but action is dear. Practice this in your daily conversations. When someone asks you a question, especially a difficult or confrontational one, do not answer immediately. Pause for 2 full seconds before you utter a single word. Look at them calmly. Let them see that you are processing their question with your rational mind rather than firing off a subconscious reaction. That brief pause alters the entire power dynamic of the exchange. It places you in the position of the evaluator, the judge, the person who measures their words carefully before speaking. It forces the other person to wait on your timeline, creating a subtle, powerful atmosphere of authority that noise can never replicate. Section 8. Withholding the final word there is an immature psychological obsession that ruins millions of human lives, the desperate need to have the last word in an argument. When two fragile egos collide, they will spend hours shouting, insulting, and repeating themselves, all because neither person can bear the thought of letting the other person drop the final sentence. They view the last word as victory and silence as defeat. This is a tragic misunderstanding of real strength. In reality, the person who desperately fights for the last word is revealing their own extreme vulnerability. They cannot leave the conversation until they receive validation that they won. They are begging the other person to surrender. A Stoic knows that true victory lies in the ability to walk away while the other person is still shouting. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself that trying to convince an irrational or angry person through endless arguing is a complete waste of human life. To argue with a person who has renounced the use of reason is like administering medicine to the dead. Think about how liberating that realization is. You do not need to correct every lie someone tells about you. You do not need to win every petty debate at a dinner table. You do not need to convince a closed mind to see your truth. When an argument degenerates into noise, anger, and cheap insults, withhold the final word entirely. Look at the other person, offer a quiet, unbothered nod, and say, "You are free to see it that way." Then, stop talking. Turn your attention back to your purpose, or walk out of the room. Let them sit there with their unused anger. Let them hold the final word. While they celebrate a meaningless verbal victory, you maintain total control over your peace, your time, and your dignity. Section 9. The fortress of an unreadable mind. When you combine all of these Stoic principles, destroying predictability, embracing the information vacuum, weaponizing calm, practicing strategic retrospection, and mastering the natural pause, you build what ancient philosophers called an unassailable mind. An unassailable mind is not cold because it hates the world. It is not quiet because it is bitter or resentful. It is silent because it has discovered a source of internal peace that does not rely on external validation. It is quiet because it understands that most human noise is merely a frantic, desperate distraction from the real work of living a noble, disciplined life. When you walk through life with an unreadable, unshakable mind, people will react to you in one of two ways. The weak, the manipulative, and the arrogant will feel deeply unsettled by your presence. They will call you cold, distant, or intimidating because they cannot pull your strings, read your moves, or force you into their childish emotional games. Their fear is merely a reflection of their inability to control you. The wise, the disciplined, and the strong will recognize your quiet character immediately. They will see that your silence is not a sign of weakness, but a wall built around a mind that answers only to reason, virtue, and self-mastery. They will respect your boundaries without you ever having to demand them. Section 10. The sovereign silence in a world that is growing louder, angrier, and more frantic by the day. Silence is no longer just a virtue. Silence is a strategic superpower. You do not need to make speeches to prove your worth. You do not need to shout to be heard. You do not need to expose your plans, your thoughts, and your emotions to every stranger who crosses your path. Retreat into your internal fortress. Master the art of the unreadable expression, the deliberate pause, and the unshakable response. Let the crowd scream, let the foolish debate, and let the insecure chase cheap applause. Your duty is simple. Govern your own mind with absolute, uncompromising discipline. Keep your moves quiet and allow the relentless quality of your life to do all the talking. If you are ready to master weaponized calm and build an unshakable mind in complete silence, leave one word in the comments section below. Unpredictable. Walk steady. Build in silence. And let your presence speak for itself.